Welcome guys. How you doing? It's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the Telegraph, who managed to tick all of the boxes to tickle the bollies of witless right-wingers straight out the gate, guys. It's actually quite impressive. Because up top you've got some Meghan bashing, some Schrodinger's Sussexes, where it's paradoxical, you know, they are equally talentless and useless, and so pivotal, so important, that their absence shakes the monarchy to its core. How do they do it, those clever sausages? Then we have the conspiracy theory that civil servants are all activists, because, you know, populist lunatics promise everything to everyone, but then the civil service have to write down how they're going to deliver it. And unfortunately, when you deal in fantasy, it's going to be the civil servant's job to tell you what is and is not possible. You know, you got populist Tories out front going, yeah, we're going to give everyone a magical teddy bear rainbow blowj. Civil servants are like, yeah, that's not logistically or financially possible at all. And the Tories are like, stop sabotaging us. It's the will of the people. You must be an activist. I mean, spare a thought for these poor souls in the civil service who are professionally tasked with having to wrap substance around empty Tory promises lathered in symbolism and slogans. You know, they're like, well, even if you hired in 3 million people to do the rainbow blowjes, let's say it took 3 minutes to satisfy every Brexit voter, that'd be 3 minutes times 17.4 million people. That'd be 52 million minutes, which is what, that's 36,000 days. How many years is that? That's like 98. It's basically 100 years. It would take you 100 years to deliver your magical teddy bear rainbow blowjes. So even if the Treasury gave us the money to pay the 3 million people, which they wouldn't, all of the Brexit voters would have died by the time you actually got... I mean, in fact, most of them are dead already. And people at the Telegraph are like, yeah, look at you with your maths and your calculator, your expert. Then we have a little bit of climate skepticism. Then some trivialization of the plight of Gazans just beneath it. Like, honestly, what they're doing here is they're saying, oh, you're just saying genocide to rob Israel of their grief with the Holocaust. That's why you're saying genocide. While people with brains are like, are you sure they're not saying genocide because it appears that tens of thousands of people are being murdered based almost entirely on their ethnicity? Are we sure it's not that? No. I'm sure it's just you're just stealing the word. It's just word games. Is what it is. I'm upset about word games more than the bombing, the ethnic cleansing, and the starvation. Word games. Right. Yes. Yeah. Word games. Sounds like page one headline stuff. Let's move on. Oh, and what's this? A cheeky little bit of NHS bashing over here. Ding, ding, ding. That is a full house, guys. I have to say, I actually quite like this little side bit here from Janet Daly. GPs have got their priorities all wrong. GPs have. Really? So says the Telegraph, after climate skepticism and conspiracy theories litter the front page of their broadsheet. It's the GPs who have got their priorities all wrong. Like, why? What did they do, Janet? Did you go in to get your lump checked and they started banging on about activists and chemtrails? That must have been frustrating. Next, over to The Observer, which is quite apt, actually now, for reasons that you will shortly observe. Because while the Telegraph waterboard their readers with distraction, The Observer are actually showing you something that will actually affect you. Tax evasion law fails to lead to a single charge. Just breathe that in, guys. Just breathe it in like it's exhaust fumes through the hosepipe. Because we live in a country that obsesses over foreigners, over dole scroungers, over people on benefits. And why do the tabloids hate them? Because they haven't paid in. They're a drain on public finances. We haven't got room. This is unsustainable. But benefit fraud, right, the whole thing, all benefits fraud, like people claiming what they should. Benefit fraud actually cost the UK Treasury 8 billion. Is what I saw on Gov.uk earlier. So that's your supposed dole scroungers. Then you've got refugees. Do you know how much refugees cost the Treasury? It's about 4 billion. So says the Home Office, which I also looked up. earlier this morning. Meanwhile, tax avoidance costs the UK Treasury 90 billion. 90 billion every year. And do you remember like all the hysteria a few years ago of international companies like Starbucks and Google, like where they were setting up these offshore shell companies? So then the UK version of their company technically wouldn't make any profit because they'd be funneling all the billions off to the Cayman Islands. And you'd have these CEOs and CFOs on the breakfast morning wrap. They'd be like, yeah, I know it seems like we're avoiding tax, but actually you have to remember, we do employ an awful lot of people in the UK, and that's sort of the same as paying tax. So David Cameron and Theresa May implemented this new law to tackle corporate tax avoidance with regards to these, these international corporate companies funneling off the billions, avoiding the tax. And it hasn't resulted in a single charge even. Let alone a successful prosecution. And that's in 6 years. 6 years, so 90 billion times 6 is 540 billion pounds that, in theory, the UK economy is missing as a result of tax avoidance, as a consequence of foreigners not paying into the system. So yes, I very much look forward to Suella Braverman's next leadership pitch, where she's demonising the strain that they put on public finances. But don't worry guys, if you're thinking, well, oh my goodness, we're short 540 billion pounds. What is the effect going to be of that? What is the impact on the public services and me and my family? Don't worry. If you're concerned by the crumbling schools that our children are all being educated in, if you're worried about the reports that we're going to slash the armed forces by a third over the next 10 years, if you're annoyed at how long it's taking for you to get a doctor's appointment, I'm here to tell you don't worry, guys. The Treasury and the HMRC are on it because they're setting up special tactical teams and brand new legislation to specifically target side hustlers on eBay. Yeah. You know what? I think someone might have their priorities mixed up, Janet.
Priorities?